Hello my friends, now I want you to explain a little bit how to buy the used camera and used lens, because many people just now selling their old gear or something like this, and if you don't want to buy something bad, you need to listen carefully, okay? So at first I will take like example my old camera Canon 350D. I know that's old camera and that's rather old lens, but you can check the other camera like this. At first, of course, you need to speak with the seller. So if seller you're telling that everything is okay, there are no problems with the camera and lens, it is okay, because some people, they just didn't know nothing about lens and the cameras and they just want to sell it. They just see, okay, that's in a nice shape, little bit dusty here, but no problem. All right, when you turn it on, it works. Okay, what do you need anymore? But I will explain what to do, what things to watch, not to buy a crap. Okay, so at first we will look to the lens of the camera. That means that the camera, Canon, Nikon, or every other camera with a mirror here, they have a lens that you can attach to the camera. The lenses are different, and sometimes the lens costs much more than the camera body. So if you are buying the lens, we will start from it. Just at first, of course, if the seller tell that autofocus is working, you can check it, connect the lens to the camera, turn on the camera, find some contrast target. For example, you can take something red, put it a little bit aside, and if you can see, the camera and the lens just focused. But that's not all. This is a 55 millimeters now, so we need to check on the other distances. Put the lens in the 18 millimeters and check it again. So the autofocus is fast and pretty accurate. That's good. Let's check the manual focusing, because sometimes when AF is working, manual focusing is stacking or something like this. So we put the lens in the manual focus. There is a switch on the lens. Sometimes there are other lenses with no switches, so you must look then the switch on the camera or in the menu. So now you can focus in by your hands like this. Listen carefully. There are no some sounds, no clicking, no scratching sounds. Nice, everything is good with the focusing. But then look careful here, because many people, they're just simple people, they are selling their lenses and cameras, they don't know nothing, and sometimes people just keeping their cameras into the, I don't know, into the garage or somewhere in the wet places with much humidity. And the main problem of the old cameras and the lenses, this is a fungus or mushrooms, champignons. And that's a great problem, because sometimes fungus goes into the lenses, not from the top, because of course if it's on the top you can just remove it by some clothing or something like this, etc. But as you can see, the lens is pretty clean for the first impressions. But always check it with the flashlight. So when you turn the flashlight and see carefully, you can see that here it is a little amount of fungus here. And of course you need to do like this, and now you can see that there are many fungus inside the lens. that means that the lens is infected, and also that means that the image quality of the lens is reduced now. So the first problem is that if you will buy it and if you will use it with your camera, so if you buy this lens and you will use it with your camera that you have at home, and after this lens you will just take it on your camera like this, film something, you will actually maybe you will not feel the difference between the image, and then you will take it off and take other lens that you have that is clean and nice. So you will install the other lens, and the mushrooms, the fungus, it will go to infect your other lens. That's not so dangerous because it gives some spores. I think that there are many fungus even at home when you're living. If you forget some fruits and they just spoiled, you have some fungus on it, and the spores are everywhere. So in your lens it can be also, but this gives much more better chances to infect your body and after all infect your other lenses. So that's a great problem, and if you will use it with your other lenses, then if you will put your camera to the wet place, or you will film somewhere in the winter maybe, then you will go home and it will be hot at home, so that will be some wet inside the camera or inside your lens. The fungus can start grow in your other lenses, so that is the main problem. So when you're buying the lenses like this old one, or when you're buying the cameras, old one, maybe film lenses or film cameras, they are very nice lenses, of course, why not, and good pricing, but always double check the lenses, because here you cannot see it, you cannot see the fungus, but also here that's not pretty obvious, and you need to just put some light on it. So now I have pretty nice lighting on the top here, it's a lamp, but if you will turn it off like this, sometimes maybe you will see nothing. So on different people, they just didn't mention the fungus, bring the lenses at home, and they just using it. It's no problem when you use it. It's like a little tiny web like spiders do. But the main problem of the fungus, it's spreading, so it will grow more and more, and it is very hard to clean the fungus, because to clean it you must totally disassemble the lens. And also the main problem that sometimes the fungus, even when you're disassembling the lens and take off these little pieces of glass, there are some glasses that just sealed with a glue, and you cannot like disassemble it for cleaning. So sometimes you even the specialists cannot clean the lenses from the fungus, and sometimes the cost of this cleaning is very, very pricey, so it will cost much more than to buy a new lens. So be very, very accurate when you are choosing lenses, and ask always when you're buying with the internet, always ask the seller, the vendors, to make a photo with a flash lens here and lens from the other side, because as you can see here, it's not much more fungus. I can see just a little in the beginning on the edges, a little bit, And on the other side it's just totally infected, and you can see that it is like a tiny spider which had many web there, but it's not a spider, of course. It's just a fungus colony. So it's like a little city that now spreading and growing up. Why fungus likes old optics? Because of the multi-coating. It simply consists of different chemical elements, and fungus sometimes like to eat, to feed on these elements. So it has some very nice apartments there. So be very patient, and just previous look if there are some fungus, because it's a great problem. If you will buy this lens, it will be very difficult to clean it. It will be very difficult to sell it again, and it's dangerous for your other lenses. So be very careful with that. Okay, but sometimes there are just a tiny amount of fungus, and what you can do with that, you can of course dry the lens. You can use something like silicone, like little silicone balls that take take wet from the air. So you need to dry the air, and if you will dry it, if you will keep your lenses in the dry place, the fungus will stop. It will not kill the fungus, but it will not spread anymore. I have such lens. It is a Canon 50mm 1.4, and I bought it with a little amount of fungus here and here. It's just I didn't mention it for the first time, and then just when I just mentioned it, there was too late to return it because I bought it from the internet. And after all, I just put my lens on the sun, on the direct sun. It was summer, so it just lied a few hours on the sun, and the ultraviolet just is killing the fungus. So I have this lens for maybe for 2 years and a half, and that didn't spread anymore. So just rest like it was on the beginning when I bought it. And if you don't want your lenses to have a fungus, you need to look with a flashlight, maybe to your collection or to lens when you are holding at home. And of course, if you have some fungus, you can kill it with the sunlight directly or with the ultraviolet. Okay, let me tell you another example. What do you need to check also in the lenses? Another one is aperture, because many zoom lenses has a problem with aperture. When you're using zoom lens, you are zooming like this all the time, and inside the lens there are some cables that also going like this. I can show you if you will see. I don't know. No, you cannot, because this lens is also going like back and forth, and inside there are some small ribbon cables that also goes like this when you zoom in and zoom out. And from time to time, of course, if the lens just maybe 5 or 10 years old, there are too much things like this, in and out, in and out, in and out, and the cables just starts to broke, and it causes something like dysfunction of, as you can hear, that is dysfunction of the aperture. How it goes, so how it happens. Now I will put the aperture to 4 on this side, and on the 85 it's 5.6. So the aperture is open now, and I will put the camera and lens for the manual focus and take a shot. As you can see, everything is good. So when I'm going to 17 millimeters. Everything is good. Okay, so everything looks okay. The camera making a shot, no problems, no mistakes. Okay, good. What can be a problem? You need to check your aperture here, because when you are buying the lens, sometimes, as I can say, that cable's just a little broken. So it can work actually on 85. You are going to take to set aperture to maybe maximum 32, and you're making a photo, and you can see everything is good, it works. But you can check it also on the other side, because the ribbon cable is like this in this position and like this in another position. And sometimes it's break a little bit, so in this position it works, and in another position it just doesn't work because the contact goes out. So as you can see, this is an error 1. This is a standard error that Canon writes when it has a bad contact with the camera and the lens. But that means that the contact is bad not with the camera and with the lens, because there are the contacts, of course, here, and you can obviously clean it, but if it doesn't go away, the problem is in the aperture. But not also in the aperture, but the problem is with the cable. For that reason, you must change that cable. To do that, you just need to disassemble also the whole lens. So it's not cheap procedure, and sometimes it's cost like a half of the lens. So be very accurate when you're buying the lens or the camera with lens, and check also, don't forget to check the aperture, because sometimes it works on the wide open, and as you can see, but sometimes when you close the aperture it doesn't work. To check it on the camera, you can press on Canon this button. This is a special aperture button. So when you're pressing it, you can see that aperture is closing and you can hear the sound. Okay, let's check. 85, it's good. Okay, and when we turn it to 17, as you can see, the camera starts to produce strange sounds. It's a problem of aperture because the contact is bad, and it starts to open, then it closed occasionally. It's just not good. So this lens needs to change the flex cable of the aperture, or even the aperture if the problem is with the aperture, because sometimes it's just stacked. Don't forget to check it, of course. Alright, another one important thing in the lenses, of course, it's scratches. So don't forget to check your lens front element with some scratches. But as a photographer that films more than 13 years, I can obviously tell you that there are no problem with the scratches on the front element, and there are great problem if you have scratches on the back element. So if you see the lens and there are some tiny scratch here or here or here, that's no problem. It will not affect the image. Yes, sometimes it will be a little sun flare when you're filming, when you will film just directly the sun. It will be like a little glitch on your camera, on your image. But for most of the parts, for most of the filmings, everything will be okay, so the lens will be okay. So you can obviously buy the lens with a tiny scratch for a reduced price, with a good price, and will use it very nice. But if you will buy it for a reduced price, after all, you will sell it for a reduced price. You will be prepared. You need to be prepared for that, because nobody wants to buy the scratched lenses. But you can do that and it will be no problem with the image quality. I saw a movie which the person has many scratches and even little pieces that were broken on the glass, but the image was still good. But look carefully on the back element, and if there are scratches on the back element, this is a problem, because back element just produces the image directly to your sensor of the camera. And after all, if it will be scratched or dirty or something like this, the image quality will be reduced. It will be more this effect on the wide angle lenses. So you have something like 14 millimeters wide lens with a scratch, don't buy it. It's not a good option, even for the reduced price. Okay, so after all, the last what I'm checking, this stuff. There are some lenses that if you take in like this and a little bit force it, that goes like this. It's not good also, because inside the lens we have a barrel with lenses and we have much screws inside the lens. And sometimes when the lens is pretty old, people using it like this much time, and the screws just goes out a little bit, millimeter by millimeter, but for the years it's a big amount. And I know some lenses, for example 18 to 135, that just these screws inside were taken out occasionally and the lens stuck because of the screw that fall out in the mechanism or zooming barrel, and it was stuck. So to solve this problem, you also need to disassemble the lens. It's not the end of the world, of course. It's not a fungus, it's not something very really bad, but take it in mind, because if the lens will go like this, a little bit shaky, bulky, that means that the screws there is almost out. And also that means that the front element, it's not directly in this surface. And that means that when you will take a photo, it will be like a little tilt, like a little shift. So the focus area will be a little bit maybe not so good. So that's not a great problem, but take it, also take this information. After all, you can check these rubber rings, because some of the lenses, it's like in the car, when you're using the car, often for a taxi or something like this, the steering wheel becomes in the bad condition so fast. So are the lenses. If you're using the lens very often on the weddings, on the reportage, or etc., these rubber rings, as you can see here, starts becoming a little bit dirty, a little bit, I don't know, wet from your fat of the fingers. And it's not a problem at all, because now I'll tell you how to fix it. If you have a little, if you have your rubber like this, so it doesn't go to fit, it goes a little bit bulky here, just for rubber. You can obviously take it off like this, it's not so difficult. After all, you can buy this stuff. This is isopropanol 99.9%. So this is alcohol, and don't buy it. don't drink it. That's just for technical purposes. And you can put a little bit of this alcohol in the little cup or something. Do like this and put it in this cup. Fill it with this alcohol and wait for a few days. After this, it will be a little bit bigger, but when you will put it to your lens again, it will be like this maybe. So it will be much bigger than your lens, but don't worry, then few days will pass and it will fit directly and everything will be okay. So it will be tight and clean, because the alcohol will take the fat, it will disappear from the rubber, and the rubber will reduce its shape like this. Okay, the last one, you can check in the lens if it has a image stabilizer. You can check it, of course. For do that, you can put camera in the TV mode, and then here on the camera you can choose the shutter speed to maybe 1/15 or even less, 1/10. Hold the camera, look in the viewfinder, half press the button and turn on the stabilizer, of course. So when you half press the button, you will listen a little sound. That means that stabilizer is turning on, because sometimes the stabilizer it's a group of lens and it uses magnets to do the camera not shaking. And you obviously will hear the sound when it's working. And after all, just look at the viewfinder, press half the button and try to a little bit do like this, one side, another side, and we'll see that the picture it's a little bit goes with a little lag. So it will be that work of the stabilizer, because it compensates the vibrations, and you will see it in the viewfinder. If it doesn't work, you will see no difference, then turn it off and try the same. If you see no difference in the picture, that means that it doesn't work. Sometimes it is okay to buy lens without image stabilizer, with no working image stabilizer. Nowadays we have some camera bodies with the integrated stabilizer on the sensor, so it's okay. I just used for a few years a lens Sigma 70 to 200 without working stabilizer, but it works after all great, and I had a great image quality. And I just use it on a Sony, which has image stabilizer on the capture here, so it was okay for me. I think that's pretty all for the lenses, and now you can check if everything is okay with the lens that you just want to buy. If something is not okay, you will see that, and then you will have two options. The first, to reduce the price, because if something is not working, you can actually ask for a reduction for lower price, yes. And the second, there are some bad stuff. If you will find the fungus, or if you will find something not good with the AF, of course, so it's maybe better not to buy this lens. Of course, if you're just filming the cats or something like this, it's no problem. You can buy this. You can use manual focusing, or you can use also lens with errors or something like this if you will buy it cheap, but sometimes it's better to buy other lens, because after all you cannot do anything with this, only sell it, and it will be sold very cheap after all. So what's about cameras? There are many different cameras, but all of them has the same thing. They have an image sensor. If you will buy the cameras with a mirror, of course, obviously you will not see the sensor because there is a mirror here. When you're buying the camera, at first it's like buying a car. So you can also see on the camera, at first you can see here, and I can say that this camera wasn't used too much on the tripod, because when you're using camera much on tripod, you have like a circle here. So you can obviously see this camera wasn't used much on the tripod, or it was used maybe with a better grip or maybe, but it's Canon 50D, it doesn't film video, so that's no problem with it. I can say that it wasn't. And this camera, the shutter count, what does it mean? When you're taking a photo, you can see that the mirror is going up and shutter clicks, click, click. So every camera, the most expensive detail in the camera, it's the sensor and it's the shutter. To change the shutter, it is a great work. So sometimes it's like half of the price of the camera. So it's the main reason to check how much was the shutter counts, because it's like in a car, how much miles the car just passed. If your car passed something like 10,000 miles, it's okay, it's like new, yes. But if your car passed 1 million miles, maybe it will be something wrong soon with the engine or something like this. So etc. It's like with the cameras, because the capture here and the shutter here, it's like an engine of your car. It's an engine of your camera. And if the camera can work without display, of course it will be hard, but if it will work without some buttons, it can work. But without the shutter and without a capture, without this, it cannot work. It will just be like a piece of metal and plastic, and that's all. So at first, to check the camera, ask the seller how much is the shutter count, so how much camera passed, because sometimes camera looks pretty nice, like this one. It looks pretty nice, but as you know, this camera passed 1,000 or 100,000 and 80,000. So it's like almost 200,000 of clicks here. I can say that sometimes photographers using camera in professional work somewhere in studio, and they just not taking it to the different bad conditions, like winter conditions or something like this outside. They're just working all the time in the studio, and you can see then that the shape of the camera is good, not much something bad here. And from the other side, the shutter count is really huge. So I just bought this camera like very low priced because of this amount of shutter count. Because these cameras, like Canon 50D, Canon 40D, it's like 100 or 100,000. How to say it? It's like 150,000 of clicks. It's not a guarantee, so when a Canon produce the camera like this, they just take something middle from the other photographers. I know the cases when the camera was working something like 500,000 shutters clicks. Of course, also I know the situation when the camera was broken. It was broken shutter when it just passed 20,000 clicks. So it's just a fortune, it's just a lottery, and you never know when something happens with your camera. But like a middle range, I can say that the type of cameras can pass 100,000 of clicks and also 150,000 of clicks without any problems. But this camera have pretty much. It's like 180,000 clicks. That pretty much. And yes, this camera has other signs. At first, check all the buttons. When you turn it on, check the button, release shutter button here. Sometimes when professional photographers work with the cameras, the main problem of the buttons that this button is not so responsive, because when they're pressing it so hard from the other different conditions in the hot, in the dry weather, on the wet places, there are some dust that goes inside and just lies on the contacts. And sometimes the dust just covers the contact, and when you're pressing, nothing happens. I have a few cameras like this. To deal with it, it's also pretty simple with alcohol. You can take a little stuff like this, a little alcohol here to go inside and press it. Maybe you will need to turn off the camera, of course, not to release, and press it a few times like this. Don't worry, it will not be the short circuit because the alcohol doesn't provide electric, and it drains very fast. So don't use much amount, because it can go to the other parts of the camera, and its screen, it's pretty soft, so it's not good when alcohol goes there. But a little amount, it is okay. So if you have a problem with the button like this, you can do it, and there are pretty nice chances to make this button work good again. Okay, what's next? If you check all the buttons here and everything is working, it's good. The wheels also should work, of course. Then you must check the internal flash for the different cameras. Of course, some cameras doesn't have a flash, but also there are a button here on Canon, it's there, to open the flash. And as you can see, this camera just stopped doing that. I think there are a little motor or mechanism. Then when you're pushing the button, it goes like this on my 350D. Look, when the camera is on, when you're pushing this button, it needs to go like this. And of course, you can check your flash. Just make a photo and you will see that it works. If you are planning to use your camera with the external flash, of course you need to check also these contacts, because sometimes it also doesn't work because of the dust or something not good inside of the camera. So bring with yourself your flash, install it and check it. The mirror and viewfinder here. On the old cameras there are a problem because there are much dust here on the glass of viewfinder, as you can see. And you can see it when you will look to the viewfinder and you just see a few dust or much dust, I don't know. It depends from conditions that the camera was used. So you can obviously clean it with alcohol, but sometimes the dust goes just inside the pentaprism here, and you cannot clean it from inside because it's just stuck with the glue and you cannot disassemble it. And of course, if you're not specialist, don't do that. All right. So, and after all, you can check the sensor here. As you can see, when you will don't do this, when you do this, you can see actually the, I'll try to show you very accurate. When you hold the mirror like this, you can see the shutter. So if you want, you can accurate check it. All the lamels need to be in their places. If you see that one of the lamel is scratched or something like this, not good, that means that in a few thousand of photos maybe, the shutter will break and you will need to buy something else. So that's also important. And to check the sensor, you need to activate it on the camera menu. So you need to activate sensor cleaning, but you cannot do that if the battery is low. So you need to change your battery to do that. This one, I think it's pretty good. Okay, so when you press in this menu, the mirror goes up and the shutter also goes up, and you can see the sensor. It is the heart of the camera here. And obviously you can check if there are some dust there or not, if it's okay, if it's not, no fungus on the sensor, because it can also be with the old cameras. When you check it, just turn off the camera and the mirror goes on its position. Okay, what else can do? You can check obviously this one side and check the HDMI, but if you don't use it, I'm never checking it because there are no problems with it. What you need to check, it is the memory card slot, of course, because sometimes in the old cameras the contacts of the memory card slots just have some dirt on it, and when you install the memory card, that nothing happens. The camera just say that's no memory card installed. So of course you can clean it with alcohol, but not in much cases. So check it first. But sometimes it helps to do like this. So when the camera is wait, I will show you. When the camera is using a micro SD cards like this, you can take some alcohol on it, a little bit amount on the contacts of the camera, then insert the memory card on the camera and do like this a few times maybe. This will clean the contacts on the camera slot of the memory card, and maybe it will help, maybe, But sometimes on the old cameras there are problem, an issue that happens with these compact flash cards, because they have a tiny holes for the pins here. Sometimes 1 or 2 pin on the camera just doesn't go in this slot and it breaks. This type of cameras, it's very hard to fix. You must disassemble it, because it's very hard to go there and to fix it like this. So you must disassemble a camera, and that's also very hard. So check if the memory card is working or not. It's very simple, just inserting your memory card there and checking. That's very simple. Okay, so I think that's all. Of course, there are much more things that you can check on the camera. The screen, maybe the connectors there. But I just tell you about main things when you buy the camera. Of course, you cannot spend hours to check it when you are buying local from some person, but obviously you can check the main stuff like mirror, like capture, like lens, and etc, etc, etc. You cannot check the battery, of course, because to check the battery you need just go and film something for a couple hours maybe. But battery is not the greatest problem, because you can obviously buy a new battery and it will hold well. So I wish you all the best. I wish you to buy nice cameras with no problems. If you have questions, please, you can write it in the comments. If you like this video, you can press like. I just tried for you. I hope that it will save you from the fail, and it will save some money for you. Thank you, and bye bye.